guess you wonder where I've been. It has been a good 3 years since I knocked the dust off my YouTube channel, but I decided to finally go ahead and do it because I was radio silent for the entire time. I tried to keep up with TikTok and like other social media a little bit, but like, I'm not gonna lie, the algorithm is algorithming, and by algorithming, I mean it's whooping my. So, yes, here she is, the happy, humble huntress herself. I haven't been Think Like Jadie in like 2 years. I think I changed my name like 2 years ago, but that is one of the many changes that you can probably see from myself. There's been a lot of everything. There's been a lot of everything, starting even back from when I started this channel. I was going through a lot, I was doing a lot, I was experiencing a lot of things, and for the most part, I have been trying to handle it in stride, but I'm not gonna lie, it has been hard, and I'm just trying to live every day to the fullest. Like, honestly, at this point, so many things have shifted around for me that I'm just like at a point where I just want to be happy. Like, honestly, the only thing I could ever want is my own peace of mind. And the more I live my life the way that I am now versus how I did even the year before last is a major shift. So first of all, I moved twice. Um, I went back to school and I am continuing my education. And on top of that, I have also switched careers twice. um, the only thing consistent is my artistry. The only thing that I can say I've consistently been doing is creating, even in like little ways. Like, I haven't put out anything major in a while, and I'm still working on my second book project, but I am just like, I just want to live. Like, I'm not pushing myself to do anything. I'm just really doing what makes me happy, and I feel like that is my purpose. That is what I'm here to do, and that's what I need to focus on. Yeah. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the real spill, the real tea, and y'all stay tuned because it is definitely a lot. So I figured the best way to do this was to pull out my journal and tell y'all a little bit about what I was going through, that prompted me to write these things, what some of these things are. My journal entries are a little cryptic. I will let you know that now, but that is because I'm very sensitive, I'm very emotional, I'm very emotionally intuitive. I pick up on a lot of things, I carry a lot of things, and when I need to get it out, I need to get it out. So The page gets what it gets. I'm not going to read you everything, but there is going to be a pretty good rundown of where I'm at and an understanding of my journey and my story. So the first major thing that I can think to tell you guys about is probably going to be the car accident that I was in. I was actually in another car accident and I got a new car, and the new car was really cute. It was a I want to say it was a 2016 Chevy. It was a really cute, like, new little vroom vroom. And it was great, but it had brake problems. And the brake problems caught up to me one day. And long story short, I made a sharp left when I was trying to slowly go around the curve using said brakes. And the brakes decided to send me into a field of trees head on. And I totaled the car. It was super scary. I was terrified. I honestly did not think. I struggle with telling this part of my story, so please forgive me if I'm a little timid. After that, I had just like a new trajectory, and I decided that I was never going to say anything negative about my life out loud. But from the way the car looked, I was not supposed to make it out of that accident. I was going to be another tragic case of a pretty girl that went too soon. And from then on, I just developed a lust for life. And I decided that I was only going to put myself first. And in putting myself first, I meant that I was going to become just a better version of me. I decided that I was going to move with more integrity. I decided that I was going to complete the things that I said that I was going to do. I decided that I was going to be more honest. I used to have a lying habit. I lied out of fear. I use lying as a tactic to protect myself in a lot of abusive situations and to get myself out of a lot of scary situations that I probably shouldn't have been in had I developed some boundaries. So I also told myself I was going to do that. And it's done nothing but benefit me. I think that was honestly the shakeup that I needed to become just a better version of myself. What's crazy is I'm telling y'all about this accident, and this is the eye right here that got the impact. I should probably not. I'm gonna spare you guys those images. I do have the pictures of my eye on my phone because I just wanted to remind myself of where I came from and remember what prompted me to be here. Not that that accident was my fault. It 100% was just a manufacturer error. Just something small that, you know, like, you don't think about your brakes really. Like, you think your car would have running brakes, but it just so happened that as I was trying to round that corner, what do you know? But I had a really bad black eye. It was not only a shiner, but the airbag deployed and it burnt a little bit of my skin off. And people were telling me that I look like Prince Zuko off of Avatar, which is crazy because I'm a fire sign, but that was really annoying to walk around like that. Also, there was a scar on my nose, like somewhere around here, that like healed completely over. So I felt like after I, quote unquote, I used to say all the time to my friends, like, oh, I want my face back. I want my face back. Because, and then now we get off into tangents. Now we get into my complicated relationship with beauty, which could honestly be a separate video in and of itself. But for the sake of me breaking away from what I was originally saying, I'm gonna go ahead and explain where this is coming from. So, I had the hardest time growing up. I used to hate my facial features. And honestly, I don't know why, because I think I'm so pretty now. And I don't mean that in a way that's vain. I'm just saying, as one of God's children, as a daughter of the Lord, I am a beautiful creation. I think I'm very, very pretty. And I didn't always think so. I didn't always like my skin. I didn't always like my nose. I didn't always like my lips and the whole black girl struggle. Here we go again. Like, I'm not going to deny that I don't have that. Like, I'm not going to deny that I have that story. When I got older and decided to cut my hair off and do my first big chop, I saw myself in a different light. I felt like I saw myself for the first time. Here I am, not with broken off perm hair, but with cute little coils that look like a black girl would have them. And they fit my face the way they grow out, and they're soft and silky and springy. And I just developed a new love for myself from there. And I feel like the car accident took away my beauty. I understand it was just a healing injury and my health should have been my priority at the time. But imagine being a lost young girl and then growing up into your teens and 20s, and then something like this happens to you when you just learn how to love your features. Scary, right? So I was shocked, and that was not the only thing that happened to me that was like that. I've had a similar experience with my hair. My hair was red. Actually, the first video, the heat damage from that video that I was showing you guys how to cover up was caused by a bad silk press. Like, I had grown my hair out to waist length for the first time ever, and I was so excited to get my hair done. I wanted a new color, I wanted to experiment, and lo and behold, the stylist decided that she was going to use a hot comb, a flat iron, and a blow dryer for my hair. And to those of you who think, oh, that's normal, my hair has never needed that. This obviously is a sew-in, but my leave out didn't need that much work to blend. So I just don't understand why someone would treat my hair so harshly and I've literally never had to. So my hair is burnt off. I'm already trying to fix it. It doesn't look good. Like, I'm trying to make it look good. It's not really giving. Then my face gets messed up. And it's like, oh my goodness, what do? I can't afford to get my hair done. I'm not going to tell you why I couldn't get my hair done. But let's just say it was due to unfortunate circumstances. So I couldn't put myself together in a way that I thought was aesthetically pleasing, that I was used to doing. And all I could afford to do at the time was keep myself alive. All I could afford to do was go to work and back, and maybe eat. So while we're ahead, I'm just gonna stop there and get into the journal. Speaking of the journal, I just remembered there is one more thing that went wrong during that year. I lost 20 pounds out of nowhere, probably due to stress, also probably due to not being able to afford to eat. But yeah, we do recover. I gained it back, and it is a struggle to keep weight on still to this day, but I'd rather struggle to keep weight on in a healthier body than be at the size that I was. And not that there's anything wrong with being a thinner woman. I still am on the slimmer side, but at the same time, I was not healthy. That was not a healthy weight for my body personally. And as someone who struggles with body dysmorphia, I just find it best for me to maintain a weight that I'm happy with. It's not a goal weight, it's a happy weight. It's a weight that I feel good in. It's a weight that I feel like clothes hang off of me well. It's a weight that I feel comfortable in, and that is all I'm looking for in my body. I'm not asking myself to be a certain number. I'm not asking myself to be a certain size. I just want to feel good, and I do. So kudos to me, but we're gonna get into the book, and I'm gonna let you know a little bit more about the background of all that. Okay, so this one is from 2021. So as you can imagine, being weathered down like that, not feeling like you're going anywhere in life, and getting injured will make you feel basically like caca. But for lack of a better word, or for use of a better word, really, we're going to use the word vulnerability. So this is me feeling vulnerable and what came to mind when I could finally put feelings to the word. The word vulnerability is etched into my brain. Webster's will do some form of explaining vulnerability as a state of being, the place where small, benevolent creatures feel a shaking in their pulse when they sense they're being hunted. From what I've seen, being a vulnerable human looks like taking all of the parts that make you feel secure and snatching them away until you have nothing left. Everything. Good, bad, ugly. Things that you didn't know made you. Things that you thought you would always have. Gone. Money. Gone. Material things, all gone. All that remains will be your soul and whatever wounds those things were covering. Diary, I am vulnerable. I can quite literally list everything 2020 to 2021 took away from me. I'm beyond grateful that the crash I was in this July only took my nice sports car and not my life. But I can't shake the feeling that every loss I took was to teach me to love my pure soul. When you were once a creature of great beauty and have your hair, face, and body compromised, it causes you to look within. Focus on what you can create. Focus on what you provide outside of your vessel. When you have a period of financial scarcity, you learn community, business strategies, and humility. You stop being greedy. I know what I have gained, but the woman in the mirror still feels like a stranger. Whew. So I told you, it gets a little cryptic. I was really going through it, y'all. Like, that was honestly just the whole year was just a hot mess. And I couldn't figure out why, but I was already like, it was already starting to click. Like, I was starting to learn the lessons that I needed to learn because I really did need to slow down. Like, I needed to think about what I was putting my money towards. I needed to think about what I valued. I needed to think about like what all I was doing and if that was really self-love. Like, yeah, I'm loving myself in the sense that like, oh, I'm in the mirror all day and I look cute and I don't know, maybe I have on something stylish, but it doesn't mean that I wasn't bad at taking accountability for things. It doesn't mean that I wasn't worse at procrastinating than I am now. I'm real enough with myself to let myself know that I still procrastinate, but I try not to anymore. So I really didn't have the right values. And I know what I needed to turn around and what I needed to do to fix myself and to change things, but I wasn't ready to meet me now. Like, I don't know. Like, I was not stuck in my old ways by any means, but I was just like, you know, like in the mirror, like, who are you? Like, girl, like, what you got going on? Like, I was changing in front of my very eyes and not just through my scar healing. So just going back, there are a couple of passages just on how I was feeling at the time. I was really broken up while I was recovering. I compared myself to other women a lot, and I had always done that, like, ever since I lost the weight. Like, the weight loss happened right after my hair, and that was already sick. But on top of that, I had that accident and it just like ruined it all for me. And I don't know why there was such an emphasis on my appearance. I think I was like scared of being physically scarred permanently. But again, I was lucky to escape with my life. So I just don't understand where my head was at. But I am trying my best to understand myself. I found this passage pretty interesting here. I said, insecurity and self-loathing made me want to understand her. This spirit only wants to be accepted and loved, to be the best version of self and to be wanted for it, for who she is by her own standard. It is from this that I began heavily reading into the sources that trigger insecurity, what made her scream her sentiments of inadequacy. What made her silently envy her prettier peers? There are many to blame. So I did research again. Like, I looked back on my notes on colorism. I looked back on some sentiments around body dysmorphia. I really tried to tap in to my former self while I was meditating. And there were so many different structures that I felt like were weighing down on me that really weren't my cross to bear. And that is honestly why I stopped the things people have said in front of me videos. Those of you who know already, yo soy bilingüe, I speak Spanish, and I had some pretty awkward interactions being Afro Latina. Like, I have experienced colorism, like both in America and elsewhere, but I just feel like telling that part of my story on TikTok was just not the move that I needed to make. Honestly, it created like a kind of like just awkward moment, woe is me bubble. Like, I didn't want to be known for like lamenting about having a mixed girl struggle. So I just don't want to be associated with those anymore. And it's only through this healing and meditation that I've developed a new perspective, and I stopped blaming societal ills, I'm gonna call them. I stopped blaming society for how I felt about myself, because I determined that that's largely up to me. And like, that sounds very cliche, but there's a lot of rhetoric that suggests that you're almost supposed to feel a certain way about having certain features. And it's like, there's beauty in all features. And when you learn how to style yourself, you learn how to do your hair, you learn how to do your makeup, you learn how to um, cultivate yourself in a way that you feel like is pleasing to you outwardly, it takes a lot of that burden off of your shoulders. But I will say, I also had to start over from square one and realize why I love myself in the first place. So I had no choice but to unplug, and I've unplugged multiple times. Like, unplugging is a cyclical process for me because I love the internet. I love engaging with the internet. I love coming on here and looking pretty. I love performing. I love doing silly things. I love showing my personality. But I just can't keep up with the Joneses. And like, when you're on TikTok and you're online as much as I was, you really struggle trying to compete with some of these TikTok baddies. I hate the fact that women that are like conventionally attractive are like automatically pushed into the TikTok baddie route. Not to speak against it, not to speak against any TikTok baddies in general. I'm not trying to knock anybody's like anything, not trying to yuck anybody's yum, but it is so hard to keep up with that aesthetic. You have to be done constantly. It's a wonder I fall into that category, but it's because I just like beauty. Like, I just like things that will enhance what someone would already naturally have. But if you don't keep yourself done 24/7, there's no way you're going to be able to keep up with that algorithm. To post every single day and to maintain that same standard, really, Hair done every single day, a cute outfit every single day, makeup every single day, nails every single day. Really? Every day? I mean, let's be real here. Like, even now, I might have my makeup done, but my nail beds are weak from the last set of nails that I did. So, am I going to force them into a new set just because I would prefer them to be long? No. And really, that is what I mean by starting over from ground zero. None of these things that I used to value, the vanity that I used to value, is of benefit to me anymore. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Not to say that I just walk around looking like anything, but at the same time, there are just times where it's just not about that. There's going to be times where, yes, you could spend $250 on a new hairstyle, but you could also spend $250 on a light bill. Like, you should want to maintain your health and your physical safety before you want to be cute. And honestly, trying to keep up with TikTok is what was ruining me. I was buying clothes, buying makeup, trying to get different products so my hair would look a certain way, like dyeing it even brighter, like just doing so many things that cost more and more and more. And I was getting only like a fraction of the views that I wanted to get. And then when I started getting more views, it was like, it was nice, but it was a shock to me. Like, I didn't expect it. I didn't really know what to do about that. Like, I just knew there were more eyes on me. I didn't really know how to be TikTok famous. I just decided to keep posting. And really, that's just what I've been doing. Like, I haven't been posting consistently at all. I've just been posting when I want to and what I want to. And that has brought me more joy than what I was trying to do. What I was trying to do when I was trying to like influence and um, just put myself out there doing different product reviews. And like, it wasn't the products that were the problems. I love the brands that I reviewed. I love everything Ebony. That's still one of my favorite hair care lines to this day. But in other areas where I was trying to push different products and brand myself, it was just not working. I deleted so many TikToks of me just trying to brand myself and like push a brand for me, like make my name into a trademark. Like, it's just like, it was just not giving. So I'm not ashamed, and I'm probably losing followers as we speak. But until I figure out how to post in a way that makes me comfortable, this is what I'm going to do. I will more than likely just be on YouTube. I'll probably just be on Tumblr and Twitter, and that'll be how you find me. But other than that, like, trying to keep up and make myself into like the Instagram reel queen, the TikTok queen, it's not what it's doing. Like, that's just not, it's not happening. And that's not to say that I'm not grateful for each and every person that follows me. I appreciate you very, very much. I wish I was more active on TikTok. I want my followers to see me more, but I'm gonna have to do something to where I like link my content and put everything together, because it would just be more understandable if you understood the platforms that I work best with. I feel like TikTok is a platform for extroverts. Like, not that I'm an introvert, but as an ambivert, I get burnt out. Like, I can have fun, I can party, I can rub elbows, but at the same time, I do need my space, I do need my peace, I need to touch grass, I need to touch grass. So I have to get away from my phone sometimes. I cannot be on my phone sometimes. And that's okay with me. And I just want it to be okay with the people that are watching me. And I know it's not going to be okay with everyone. But for those of you who really do appreciate me, I see you, I love you, I make my content for you, and I want you to come where I am. So I'm going to be mainly on YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, sometimes TikTok, sometimes Instagram. Like those two apps are probably going to be my least posted apps. Maybe Instagram more so, but it depends on how I'm feeling. I even touched on that a little bit in one of my more recent journal entries. This is from like 2022. God, I am asking of you to be freed from vanity. I know at my core I am beautiful, not by the features you gave me, but by the virtues you've instilled in me. I love the way I love other people. I love the energy I put into my creative work. I love how I put my own unique touches on everything that I do. But overall, I want the joy and peace of mind that a soul, a bright ball of aural light would have, because in the end, that's all I am. Lord, I ask for peace and self-love. May I be beautiful in your eyes and in mine. Amen. So after I asked God to remove vanity from my life, I then thanked him for the season of humility that I was in. Um, I was very quiet. I was definitely in a season of humility. I was not speaking much. I was not flaunting myself at all. Um, I was moving with compassion, moving with integrity. That was where I started to begin to get back to doing more of that. And I noticed, like, at that point, that was when I started tapping into my inner child, because, like, I had always been, like, a really sweet little girl. And through just, like, a set of experiences and like just perceptions that I developed about the world after things had happened to me, I just became hardened. Like I became bitter, and I know what that is, to create that. We call that an ego. And then what happens when something like this occurs? We have these big experiences, we have these epiphanies, and we call it an ego death. But the thing is, ego death is a cyclical process. And I also wrote about that one too. So, ego is your perceived sense of self. And Sigmund Freud broke that down into three structures. It goes identity, which is the unconscious and untamed instinctual elements of the self. The superego, a person's sense of conscience as a result of worldly experiences. And the ego, which is the mediator between these extremes, and it grants a person their sense of self. Now that we know what ego is, we can talk more about ego death. Ego death is when you lose your sense of self and create a deeper sense of awareness. And I really, really want to drive this point home that ego death is a cyclical process. You will have an ego death for every ego death that you've ever had. Every time something poignant happens, every time something touches you, every time something in you is inspired to change, your old self will die. I really dislike this rhetoric that is going around among spiritualists where people talk about having an ego death and they say it like it's something that they went through and now they're a better person because of it, and they're just the best and only version of themselves that they're ever going to be. That's so unrealistic. Please do not subscribe to that notion. And before you decide to click off this video, please just listen to me and listen to what I'm saying. This is not your average video about an ego death. Ego death is a reoccurrence. You will have a few during every ascension. Thinking of oneself as egoless is also a state of existing in ego. To think yourself egoless is to reject learning and healing. So I think I ruined my internet presence, but when I prayed that prayer about vanity being removed from my life, I definitely did something, because as a woman, much of your identity is determined by your outward appearance. And when your outward appearance is compromised in the way that mine was, you have no choice but to decide for yourself who you are, who you want to be, and what she looks like. And honestly, I didn't want to be pretty a day before I learned how to be a better person. I wanted to be a stand-up woman, not only for other people, but for myself, because I realized that a lot of my problem was self-sacrificing. And that itself stemmed from things that happened to me. Again, going back and tapping into your past selves, when you decide to meditate, I tapped into myself and found in that my body was never my own. My identity was never my own. My presence, myself was never my own. I was always told what I was supposed to do, where I was supposed to be, how I was supposed to do it. And in a sense, that's kind of good. But at the same time, when it's time for all of that to be pulled away from you and you have to scramble to see what you're going to do next, it really separates the women from the girls. But it does get better. It gets better because I was able to pull myself up out of the rut. I had a lot of help. I got loved on by a lot of people. My family was very good to me. My friends were great to me. And I built myself up after a while into a self-sufficient, wholly self-actualized version of me. And I feel great. So if you want to keep up with me, I will be here. The content's going to get really interesting now that I broke the ice. And I'm going to go ahead and close this with a prayer that I wrote in my book earlier this year. This is from, actually, can't say this year, it's from last year. It's from 2023, but it still resonates. I thank you, Lord, for these gifts. I ask for your continued protection and deliverance as I walk my path. I am grateful to be cradled in such a loving and benevolent presence as I grow up and grow older into life. I thank you for every day. I love my life. Thank you for the opportunity to live, love, and be joyful. In Jesus' name, I close a wonderful prayer. Amen. Yeah.